So you want to be happy again, huh? Well, why not? Let's do this. Hey, it's Wei from the Six Figure Academy, where we specialize in increasing your money flow, optimize your mindset, but more importantly, creating life mastery, especially around happiness. Now, years ago, I had a client come to me seeking to get her happiness back. And I thought at first she was saying she needed to find her groove back or whatever the case may be. But what she was asking for was that she used to have a lot more happiness than she had now. The difference was now she was making a lot more money. She had created more success in her life, but something was missing. She apparently had lost her happiness and she wanted to get it back again. So I had her explain to me what exactly happened. Well, she bought into the idea or the story that she needed to make more money, because prior to her current career at the point where she was coming to me, she had a lot of freedom. She was doing a lot of things that she loved. She was open to finding new hobbies, being creative, and doing all these artsy things that completely lit her up. The only thing that was missing was that she wasn't making a lot of money. She was making just enough money to survive. So she finally decided that she wanted to make more money and started to buy into, so to speak, programs and trainings and all these different things that were supposed to help her create more financial success. So she started doing that, and as she got more and more successful, she became more and more busy because the financial success story that she bought into required her to make certain sacrifices. And so one by one, all the different things that she used to do to make herself happy started to be given up for the sake of her work. She gave up traveling. That was the first thing that went. She also then gave up some of her hobbies. She had so many hobbies, and one by one, they started to go away. Not because she didn't want to do it, she just made a priority of focusing on her financial success. Her creativity started to go away. And last but not least, her freedom. She woke up one day achieving the financial success and the story of what success was supposed to be by someone else's standards or by society's standard, and she woke up one day realizing she was no longer as happy as she used to be. She bought into the story that money and happiness, or responsibilities in life and happiness, couldn't go together. And in order for her to be happy, she had to sacrifice everything that she had worked so hard to achieve and to create in life. When we got together and we started working, I had to help her change that story so that happiness and financial success were no longer linked together, so that she no longer had to give up one for the other. In fact, we started having her make bigger choices and better choices on how to use her financial success to bolster her happiness. But that first required her to reconnect to what happiness truly was in her life. See, in the beginning, she just kind of went with the flow, never really took the time to understand what it was all doing to make her happy. This time around, because she had so much more on her plate, it required her to sit down and really be intentional about what happiness truly meant for her. We have all been going through some really interesting time. And over the past year or so, humanity has been struggling with losing happiness and giving up happiness for the sake of survival. Now we're at a place where we're finally kind of moving away from that struggle to give us that freedom and that space to start to look and find happiness again. So how do we do that? How do we be happy again? Well, like my client, what we need to do is start to reconnect or revisit how we define happiness to be. We also have to make sure that we take the steps necessary to let go of the money stories that have attached money with happiness. And it's not to say that money can't help us get to happiness. It just doesn't require money to create the happiness we want in our lives. Money just makes things happen faster. And so how we want to do that is, first and foremost, you want to define what happiness means to you uniquely. Without knowing what happiness truly means to you, it's going to be really hard to find that happiness again. Another way on how to be happy again is by making sure you don't have any stories that you bought into that has your happiness attached to responsibilities, so that you have to choose between happiness or that responsibility. Some of those responsibilities include making money, include spending time with family, include being a good friend, being a good significant other, all those different things. When it comes to those financial stories, also known as bad money stories, we want to address how we learn about those bad money stories, get to the root of how we know to use those bad money stories to connect it with our happiness. By eliminating those bad money stories, a whole host of things will go away. Similarly, when it comes to the relationships that we have with our family members, we want to get to the core of how we know to attach certain levels of responsibility as a family member, be it brother, sister, son, uncle, whatever it may be, to a point where you need to choose between what you want to do for happiness versus your responsibility as a family member. And then when it comes to relationships, we want to get to the bottom of what does it truly mean to be a significant other for this person that we love and care about? And why is it that we have a story running underneath that says we need to sacrifice our happiness for the sake of a relationship? If you really think about that, it's pretty counterintuitive, actually, because when we find ourselves needing to sacrifice our happiness for the sake of a relationship, doesn't that go against the whole point of being in a relationship? Happiness is at the core of everything that we do and why we do everything that we do. Now, I get it. There are some family type of dynamics, such as responsibility as a parent to the child that you brought into this world. And how we make sure we do that is we need to separate the responsibility from what we actually need for ourselves. Call it mommy me time, daddy me time, in order to maintain our fuel tank, so to speak, of happiness so that we can stay happy. When you do these things and you put your attention to doing each of these things that we discussed, this is how you're going to be happy again. Except this time around, if you follow these steps or these ways to do it and you address all these things we talked about, you'll create a new level of happiness that is sustainable and more resilient, so that should anything else happen again in the future, you'll have a lower risk of losing happiness again. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did find it to be helpful and this is the kind of content you would like to see more of, let me know by clicking the like button. And if you have ideas of other topics you'd like me to address and cover around money or prosperity or optimizing your mindset, or more importantly, happiness, go ahead and comment below so that I can take those ideas and create new content just for you. Other than that, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss another video talking about money or happiness again.